Johnstruct, welcome to Proximity. I'm having an Avowed adventure. I return under kind of strange circumstances. So I will say, I'm on the wire. I'm playing these games as I'm uploading them. And this is a game I enjoy as I'm playing. But I've got loads of irons in the fire, right? And just other games are calling to me at the moment, so it means we're not necessarily getting this. It's not getting played as much as other games, as much as it should. You know? Why am I playing with a controller? I don't play this game with a controller.
I remember the academic term for something that's driving me mad.
What does this hypothetical term describe?
What's the word for a soul that breaks apart, becomes two people, and then in life they are sworn enemies?
That sounds too specific to have its own term.
There has to be one, right?
I can't think of one. Oh, you could probably make up your own.
I couldn't just do that.
Why not? I do it all the time. Or you could even parlay that into an entire field of research if you play your cards right.
Tempting, dangerous. I really ought to exhaust one field of research before starting another.
If you insist.
Yes. And so I was playing another game, a puzzle game called Lingo, and I had a sort of a fan of Lingo on. I'm at the point in that game, in the specific place where all the puzzles left are obviously either the ones I'm stuck on. Actually, no, there are no puzzles I'm stuck on because I can't find them. So I'm doing this because I'm gonna sneeze. But like, there's a super fan on, and he directs me to a puzzle and nudges me so I can complete it. And as soon as I understand what the puzzle is, I go, I think I'm done with this game, and I turn off the stream, which is not mature me. Like that's a rage quit. That's legit, and I'm not proud of it. But I was so angry at like that's. So and it's like so I was just like, I'm gonna play Avowed. There's a game that that presents itself as a game that's physically actually playable.
Why? I heard you singing under your breath in the last fight. Then you were stabbing on beat.
I didn't even realize. How'd you notice?
It's the curse and blessing of having very large ears, dearie.
Well, guess the Navy left me with something useful after all.
I am going to need you to teach me that song, though. I wonder if it'd improve my spellcasting.
As if you'd need my help for that.
Flattery will get you everywhere, dearie.
Okay.
Listening to Yardsley's thoughts about godless ruins is one thing. Bringing her along for the rest of the trip is something else.
You don't trust her?
Well, don't you think it's a little convenient? You need to go somewhere no one ever goes, and here she is to show you the way. If she's read anything about the garden, it was written centuries ago. Obviously, things have changed since then.
You seem really bothered by this.
Bothered? Pedraku. It's my job to guide you as safely as possible. What you're doing isn't safe. I'll go along with whatever you decide. Just don't be disappointed when she doesn't show you what you wanted to see. Anyway.
Talk about Shatterscarp.
Right. What do you need?
Would you learn more about Shatterscarp?
They say this used to all be underwater until something happened that cracked open the ground and swallowed the seas. Makes sense to me. If you dig far enough, you'll find strange things like old fish bones that don't make sense in a place like this. I think that's why Thirdborn appeals to the Rowatayans so much. Like there's an ancestral connection with what the land used to be. Or maybe they just like fishing off the coast. What do I know?
Do you have any tips for surviving here?
Let's see. It gets cold out here at night. I always make a fire in camp, and no matter how hot it is during the day, I always keep a blanket. I like to camp on a hill or plateau if I can, because even the slightest bit of rain can cause a flash flood. You'd be surprised how many people drown in Shatterscarp. Nothing's prepared for rain out here, especially the land itself. Though if you don't drown, your water problems are pretty much solved, so there you go.
I think we now.
Right, changing the subject.
Your thoughts on companions?
Let's make sure they're not listening. You already asked about Giada, so you probably want to talk about Kai or Yatsley.
I imagine you have opinions on Yatsley.
Right. Yes, I do. Real strong Blessed Day opinions. I don't trust her any further than I could throw her, which honestly isn't that far. She actually goes down into these ruins on purpose, just to see what's down there, I guess? And now she's trying to lead us to the garden. Might as well be searching for WoW's wacky wagon of mysteries. Nah, I'm sure she knows what she's doing, but what if she doesn't?
I want to talk about you.
Oh, good. Let's have it.
Why don't you talk about your life?
Because it's not that interesting, really, and knowing about it won't keep you alive, and I don't like talking about it. So why pry? Wouldn't you rather your wilderness guide be happy and unburdened by thoughts of his past?
You're never happy. When have you ever been happy and unburdened?
I think there was a period of 3 days when I was in training, but I might have dreamt it. I remember sleeping a lot.
I'll get you out to open up somehow.
Ha! Not without a sharp blade or a barrel of Wodak, you won't.
How did you learn survival skills?
When I was a child in Solace, a warden named Alinka taught me the basics. What berries to eat, how to build a shelter, and so on. Later, I started going out on patrols, just to get experience in the wilds. By the time I was 15, I was going out on my own.
What did you do on patrol?
I was usually part of a small patrol, maybe 4 wardens. We'd travel the roads in Galawain's tusks, and I was in charge of camp. We'd make sure the Zarps weren't getting restless, the roads were clear of bandits, and the lava flows weren't flooding. Turns out I was just good at surviving on my own. So I kept doing it, and I kept getting better at it.
You left Solace because you didn't need it anymore?
Right, changing the subject. Anyway, what do you need? Fine. You've been patient enough, I suppose. Right. Solace isn't an easy place to live. The food is stale and meager. The water tastes like steel and old meat. Everyone knows everyone else. No privacy, no silence, no time to yourself.
Why is life so difficult there?
Solace is a walled keep in the harshest region of the lands. Isolated is an understatement. Honestly, all of that was fine. But there was a peculiar kind of silence I didn't love.
Wait, you said there was no silence?
Nimdut, I was being dramatic. I have only the faintest memories of my parents, which was fine. I had friends and mentors and trainers and elders. When I asked about my real parents, though, they just told me I was safe now, and that the wardens were my family. I never knew if my parents were alive or dead. I like to assume that they had died fighting some giant monster in the tusks, but no one would say. When I asked for more, they changed the subject, like I wasn't worthy of a backstory.
Everyone is worthy of knowing where they came from.
I mean, I know the important part. I'm from Solace, for whatever that's worth. My oldest memories are of Solace. My oldest friend is from there.
Thank you for talking to me about this.
Right. You asked. Thanks for talking.
The dream scourge is getting worse. First our land, then our animals. Now our people. If we don't put a stop to it, we're looking at the end of the living lands.
Even if we heal the living lands, we still need to wrest it away from the still growth.
How can anyone expect us to do both? As if the Dream Scourge wasn't enough of a problem, the Adherents are profiting off our misfortune. They haven't come to help us. They're here to exploit our weakness.
My people are in dire need of correction.
Let's hope it never comes to that. But when it does, I'll be at your side. It's too bad.
I'll be waiting.
We're fighting for our lives, our souls, and our freedom. I don't know if we can win all three.
We can. It won't be easy, but we'll make it.
You really think so? My apologies for acting cynical, but it feels as if nature, politics, and even the very gods are working against us. I don't appreciate being backed into a corner, but here I am.
Must be nice having Yatsley around.
Despite everything that's happened, I'm so grateful to be working with Yatsley. In many ways, Quilichi has been like a second father to me. But Yatsley, she's like my dirty aunt who's up to no good.
We all need a few bad influences in our lives.
Oh, she's an expert in that field. While I have your attention, I've been thinking. Why is Inquisitor Ludwig suddenly interested in godless ruins?
Not for any good reason.
When it comes to her, there's never any good news. We should be ready for anything. Something tells me Ludwig isn't finished with us yet.
Let's talk about Shatterscarp.
Go on then. I'm listening.
I want to ask about you.
You want to talk? Let's talk.
How are you holding up?
Well, my future is in shambles, and I have no idea what to do next. Oh, and my home burned down. Apart from that, fine. Truthfully, I'm a bit lost. Leaving Fiormes Iverno was supposed to be liberating. We've seen and done incredible things, but I'm no closer to finishing my family's work.
Why is that?
The Dream Scourge? Through animancy, I can harness the wild essence of the living lands and put it to good use. But what if I tried, only to have it lash out and destroy me? I'd be no better off than my parents. The Dream Scourge is infecting our Adra, holding back my work. Until I understand it, until I can control it, I can't do anything. I'm useless. I'm nothing.
Chase the Dream Scourge to the garden. Maybe you'll find answers there.
Let's hope we live long enough to see this garden of yours. Quilichi always told me to slow down, to stop and appreciate the land I'm trying so hard to fix. But how can I slow down when I only have one lifetime to get this right? I'll find answers in the garden, for better or worse.
What do you think of our travel companions?
Anyone in particular? I warn you, I'm not the best judge of first impressions.
Yasli.
Of course, she's brilliant, open to anything, and sees the world as she wants it to be. Yatsley gave me my first glass of wine, and the courage to approach a special someone. We have a lot of catching up to do.
Did you know your parents?
Indeed, old friends. When they died, Yatsley protected me. Made sure I had one consistent person in my life. I think that's why she gave me that glass of wine. Why she encouraged me to live my life to the fullest. She was making sure I hit all the milestones I could have missed.
Wait a second, who is this special someone?
No one to get jealous over. To call it a relationship would be an insult to the word. But it was fun while it lasted. Animancy is the study of life. Unfortunately, we get so busy that we forget to live. So a little roll in the hay is good for the soul. Yatsley taught me that. Well, not the part about rolling in the hay. That was my idea, and I don't recommend it. Now that she's traveling with us, maybe she can teach you a thing or two. I think that covers everyone. And if my good opinion changes, you'll be the first to hear about it. Thanks for talking.
For the camp of an official Adiran envoy, I was expecting a little more. A proper bed, at least. But I suppose this will do for now. As long as you have a bath, of course.
I suppose the bath could be arranged if you ask nicely.
I always ask nicely. But as riveting as it is to complain about our accommodations, I imagine you have another topic in mind?
Yeah, you feel like you could fit into like a Poirot Death on the Nile situation? Although like a really weird version that has like fluffy little people in. But that jar you had me fetch for you earlier, is it worth much?
I'm the only buyer you'll find here, and I already have the jar. A lesson for next time, darling. It's always worth some haggling. Unfortunately, it's been quite some time since I've met another who focused on the godless as I do. And I imagine I'd be more knowledgeable on the subject than anyone else you could find.
Is that how you got that burn, running around old flammable ruins? Was it burn?
I've yet to be burned in a single flame trap, and I don't intend to start anytime soon. Fair guess, though. When I got my first grimoire as a child, I was trying out some of the fancy new spells I'd been given. I was attempting a simple illusion spell, but I must have slurred my words. The next thing I know, everything was on fire.
The incantation for a reflection is one stretched syllable from flame. Perhaps that's where you made your mistake.
That was my assumption as well. Ferret's balls. It's nice to know I won't have to dumb things down with you. What is childhood but for silly things? When else can you get away with arson? My father was able to pull me from the flames as my mother doused them. I burned myself badly enough to give myself some vivid dreams, but the house still stood at the end.
Did you ever end up getting the spell right?
Of course. Now I only burn those that deserve it, like mosquitoes and university administrators. The only lasting damage was my burn mark and the dreams.
I'm sure you only had bad dreams, not nightmares.
Nightmares are still dreams, Envoy. Just not ones you'd recommend to others. They're not nearly as enjoyable as my more provocative dreams.
Personally, my favourite dreams involve several lengths of rope and enticing courtier from home.
Oh. Well, just be sure to have a quick release knot if you ever make that fantasy reality. Someone should learn from my mistakes. I certainly have no intention to.
Goodness, we're feeling very honest today, aren't we?
As delightful as you are, we've much to do and less time to do it in. Shall we go?
It's kind of a weird line that they give you there, but...
For snaggage, if you ask me.
I didn't ask.
I suppose if you're on a wild goose chase, there are worse places to do it.
You're looking on the bright side for once.
I thought I'd give it a try, see how it feels. Yatsley's got you going in all sorts of abandoned ruins. Who knows what's down there? More questions, most likely. And spiders.
You're afraid of spiders now?
No, why would I be? I just want to make sure we've covered all the options before we dive headfirst into another deadly ruin.
I appreciate your concern, Marius.
Right. Just keep it in mind, I guess. Anyway. If I must.
Oh, Envoy, might I steal a moment of your time?
You're finally ready to talk about what happened in Emerald Stair.
Well, it's the waiting that makes the payoff so delicious, don't you agree? I can't believe Fjord's gone. A city of scientists, attacked for no reason. I'm going to personally find every Steel Garrote asshole and turn them to ash. I can't believe we were able to get as many out of town as we were.
All of Vidaro's faults, he coordinates a damn good evacuation.
I suppose I'll have to give him that. But if you tell him I said that, I'll deny it to my dying day. Besides, Quilici and I did just as much to help people out. At least we were able to get everyone to safety. Though with everything happening in Thirdborn, safe might be relative. At least I know Temerity will keep an eye on them. I think she knows what'll happen if she doesn't.
How long have you known Temerity?
Long enough that I trust her to do her best by everyone. You see, Emerald Stair has Naku Tedek. For a young and aspiring godless scholar, it was a godsend, if you'll forgive the pun. And, as a young at heart godless scholar, I've traveled outside the stair to other ruins. That's how I met Temerti. Thirdborn's close to Naku Kubel. And a girl's gotta eat sometime.
You just travelled and studied ancient ruins. That sounds wonderful. I'll give that up.
Who says I did? I still go out often. I've catalogued many ruins, but there are always more. And coming home to a warm welcome is lovely. You should try it sometime, darling.
You're not an animancer.
Brilliant, envoy.
You don't have to be an animancer to enjoy the pleasure of their company.
Exactly. Thank you, darling. Even with the stunning lack of animancy in my life, I marched into town and everyone fell in love with me. Oh, part of it is my sparkling personality, of course, but a larger part of it is time. It's hard to hate someone when they drop by your lab with lunch after you've forgotten to eat again.
I remember getting distracted and going hungry more than once during my studies.
It's so much easier to do when you're younger. Now, I enjoy eating and watching Quilici cook far too much. But our kitchen is gone now, so I'll have to wait far too long to properly see that side again. My mother always said that the way to a man's heart was through his stomach. Quilici and I got together the old-fashioned way, though. I saw a beautiful man across a smoky tavern. Then I dazzled him with my delightful personality. Then he showed me an abandoned ruin outside of town, and I was hooked.
You lived happily ever after, right?
Oh, it's not a fairy tale, darling. We've been happy for the most part. Any rough patches got smoothed over well enough. I only thought about killing him once or twice. He's probably thought the same a bit more. I still can't quite believe that everything we've built is gone. A generation of work scattered to the wind. It makes you wonder how everything will turn out.
People are alive, so there's still hope. Buildings can be rebuilt.
Right. The city can be replaced, but not its residents. Thank you, Envoy. I feel a little less frazzled. I've got a lot to think on. Talk to you soon? Try not to have too much fun without me. How can I help, darling?
What can you tell me about the Godless?
Careful what you wish for, darling. So, the Godless, or the Akita, as they called themselves, were the original folks who lived in the Living Lands. They arrived on the shores of a new land and settled there, living with the land instead of trying to tame it.
The Akita were fleeing and the storm brought them here.
You sound certain. Well,
Yeah, I
I
already
would
know that.
align with my own findings. But how could you know that?
I had a vision. In Dawn Shore.
Does that happen a lot?
Just the once, thankfully.
Well, sounds like fun. But dubious metaphysics notwithstanding, you corroborate my theory. The Godless are so singular. Their art and architecture, you never see it in Rawatai or Ishamatul or, well, Adir. But in their artwork, they reference escaping, fleeing, seeking refuge. So they must have come from somewhere. My guess, they originally came from Yezua.
Yeshua?
Ah, yes, let me sum up. Yezua, a continent, cut off from the rest of the world, hidden by eternal storms, one of the 3 hubs of the Angwithan Empire. 10 years ago, you could say it wasn't real, that it was a dream, but they said the same of Ukaiso. Suddenly, the appearance of a mythical land doesn't seem so implausible.
Maybe that lands of sweets I dream of is real too. That's called Germany.
Ah, well, that one might stay in your dreams, darling.
No!
There was some kind of schism, an ideological one. From what I can glean, the Godless were staunchly against
It's the land of
gods,
chocolate.
hence their name. There are even some not-so-kind murals of the gods. It seems like the Godless really took their anti-theism seriously.
We're not all smiles and sunshine. It's me quoting The Simpsons. Fascinating.
I know. Well, I think we've covered everything, don't you? Rather, as much as I think you'll withstand. Hope you enjoyed talking about this as much as I did, dearie. How can I help, darling?
What do you think of our travel companions?
We've been traveling together for a little while. I just have to know. Did you purposefully choose such colorful company, or is that just what you attract naturally? I mean, I'm very clearly a delight, so it's obvious why you let me stick around. I'd seen Kai around once or twice, and always thought he was charming enough. He's got a sharp tongue, though. Makes me like him even more. And Marius. I don't know what's lurking in him, but I do think he should speak to someone on it. If he reaches out, do try, will you? As for Giada, well, clearly Giada is a gem. As for me, well, I'm just as riveting as you, but the boys are giving me a run for my money.
Honestly, it's been nice to not have to speak in layman's terms every moment of the day.
It is a lovely little perk, isn't it? But so is the ability to actually talk to any you meet. Don't discount it. You do strike me as a people person. Tell me, do you get along with all you meet?
I have a lot of friends back in Nadir.
So, you'll be swarmed by well-wishers then, upon arriving home? And here I thought I had a wild youth exploring ruins. You might be putting me to shame, dearie.
I feel like the game expected me to say something else then. Dark, empty ruins. You and Kuilichi have been simple and sweet. Maybe good places for a rendezvous, couldn't they?
Why do you think Kuilichi and I went to Nakutedek in the first place? Of course, other lovers were less willing. Something about them being gross and terrifying. I just think it adds to the excitement. Well, you've satisfied my curiosity. You know, Envoy, we've traveled enough that I think I've gotten a handle on your style. Style of fighting, I mean. Your fashion sense is more opaque. But listening to your incantations, they could use some tightening up. I could probably teach you a thing or two, if you're up for it. What do you say?
Whatever you want to teach me, I'm ready to learn.
How about I show you a little bit of everything? What? Out of breath already? Talk to one of the boys. See if they can help with your stamina, dear. Well, I've taught you all I can. Let's hope you put it to good use.
Do I get anything from that?
I've been researching the Hollowbone crisis, another spiritual plague, both similar and different to ours.
Dreadful, wasn't it? Especially the parts with the animal souls.
Could it be related to the Dream Scourge? A common ancestor, maybe?
The people of the Deerwood seemed to think that they'd angered the gods, and it was divine retribution. I highly doubt the gods would be so cruel.
I don't know about the gods, but people sure are. I heard they turned on their neighbors. Aethasians, animancers, anyone suspicious.
According to my research, the crisis went away on its own. Something tells me we won't be so lucky.
Right. Nothing goes away on its own. Not even snaggage.
Do you think those Adirans were onto something? Do you think they can really cure the Dream Scourge?
Yeah.
I think it's worth a try, at least. I just hope we made the right decision.
Science must push boundaries from time to time. We are to discover anything.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Othoy. Now that the researchers can research, think of what we'll learn. A cure might sound far-fetched, but what if they find treatments for the Dream Scourge? And even other ailments? Oh, I can't wait to see how far they've come when we see them again. Well, that's all I had to say. I'll let you get back to whatever you were doing. Unless there's something else you want to chat about? How can I help, darling?
Let's talk about the recurring dream you've been having.
suppose you've earned that much.
Have I?
And I do.
This is our first
enjoy
conversation, by the way.
your tenacity. Though between your dreams and mine, it's a wonder anyone gets any sleep around here. You remember that I nearly burned my family home down when I was young?
I'm sorry, you did what?
How do you think I got this scar on my shoulder?
Oh, that's a
Oh,
scar.
I told you this before.
That old chestnut gets more interesting every time she tells it.
No matter. To make a short story shorter, I decided to teach myself magic as a child and started with fire magic. I maimed my arm and nearly turned my home into ash. I wish that was the last time my home burned before my eyes, but your countrymen made a mess of that. Anyway, my parents were able to stop me before the home was completely lost. Small comfort to my parents, of course. Well, shortly after all that fuss, the dream began. It started at first with a fire. Just flames, crackling, and a feeling of safety. Well, I thought it was a little weird, but nice. But then, the dream kept coming back, night after night. I learned more every time. I saw that it was a fire in a hearth. And that hearth was in an old library. I assumed it was a library, at least, to explain why there were so many tablets lining the walls.
That sounds wonderful.
A man after my own heart. In the library, there's just one person, but they're wearing a hood, so I never see their face. They do the same thing every night. They curl up in a chair by the fire, hold a tablet to their chest, and then the fear comes. The paralyzing, all-encompassing fear of something.
Books are rather terrifying.
Oh, yes. Nothing strikes fear in the heart of Kith like principles and procedures of animal husbandry. A low, deep banging starts, and it rattles through your bones and shakes you to your core. And it replaces the beat of your heart with this droning on and on and on until you forget every other sound you've ever heard.
A beat. Steel feet on the shore. They come by night.
And then, as it just gets louder and louder, and right before it gets there, I wake up.
You've been listening to too many of Giada's ghost stories.
And let me tell you, waking up in a cold sweat does nothing for my fur.
You don't know the sound source, I assume.
How sibilant. No. Just that it's all-encompassing. It's strange. I've not told many of the details of my dream. I suppose I must like you quite a bit, Envoy. Don't let it inflate your ego too much. I suppose we should try and get some rest now. I'll have some tea ready for when we awaken later.
Got some tea ready now.
How to know when to be quiet. What
Right.
a lovely gift to find on my pillow.
Oh, yeah, interesting. I suppose that's a good skill to...
Yeah, I can make my own tea. With tomatoes in. Can I just make all, please? I can't bother to do that now.
If I didn't know better, Marius, I'd think someone was trying to tell me something.
Oh, what's this? Did I pick up this? Bold Kara's. I mean, I suppose it depends what's on the noir. What am I currently using? Oh, I am literally using that. Enough.
Would be to read it, see what it's all about.
And you have nothing more to say, do you?
No, I think everything's out in the open. Why?
I know I talk a lot, but had I known it bothered you so,
Oh, no. It's about maintaining stealth in a wilderness environment. Gods, what did you think it was about?
I just assumed you were too cowardly to complain to my face, dearie.
Not at all. If I had a problem, you'd know. Trust me.
Yeah, sure. Cool, let's play some computer games. No, not yet.
Seeds of change. Their petals sprout across the barren land.
I know, right?
They sing to the unwanted ones, and the unwanted ones sprout in turn. The soil remembers what it once was. It will soon be whole, safe.
Who soiled? The soil of Shatterscarp?
A name given to the land, not asked for. You see why the parasites are loathed? The soil does not want these cities. It yearns for silence, for the kestrel song. But first, the sprouted ones will grow. They will bring the stillness and the birdsong.
Why would you want Thirdborn gone?
The dam falls. The river returns to its source. It is how the land was and should always be. We want all of them gone. We wish for life to flourish again.
That's what people are doing in Shatterscarp. They're trying to make a life there.
Efforts paid in blood. They lie to the earth, to themselves. Death nourishes the soil. All things come from the rot.
I suppose that's sometimes true.
The dead bear nourishes the pack.
You were angry when we killed that bear, though.
Ponder, dream of shifting sands now. We will speak again.
Is my new coat? Ladies? Right, what are we doing? And a pot. And then we'll travel north. Which is not that direction. Might struggle with this direction though. Great Sandsea. I, of course, hate sand. It's coarse and it's rough. And it gets everywhere.
big mystery.
More skeletons, eh? More skeletons than you could shake a magic stick at. Oh, hang on. Cool.
Bravo!
They were skeletons. This is going to mean nothing to anybody, but I learned recently that Stuart Lee was the script supervisor for Time Gentlemen Please. I didn't even know he did work like that. There's something... There we go. It's not terribly surprising. It's how television folk work, but I hear glowing. Perhaps it is upwards. Wanga. Oh, I know what that's from now. It's the fuck shit stack. More monsters. Don't we have a fire mage with us? Actually, I know you can set things on fire. You had an entire story based on it. To save them though. Got stuck in this damned cave. Torch is running out and it gets blistering cold at night out here. Harmon saw a tree further down, he thinks. Better than freezing to death stuck in here. Got a fire going now. Staying the night here might not be so bad. Better than getting eaten by Zarups. The vines. Seems like they're getting closer. I've never seen anything like it. Better keep writing, though. They're growing so quickly. Maybe it's a trick of the firelight. It's got to be right. Nothing can grow fast, not even in the